Hey, how's it going everyone? Lotfi here. So I thought I'd just shoot this quick video for Facebook, just to give some ideas and tips on some of the things that I've learned over the past 12 months of running ads now and helping people run ads. More than 50 clients that I've had, that I've actually done this for and, help them do it themselves. So just to give you some ideas, kind of what's changed, what's the difference between me back more than a year ago and now kind of what's changed, because obviously back then, I was great as I was doing in different niches and stuff, but to come to a niche where I just knew nothing about and then, get, amazing results very quickly. There's some things that have happened I've noticed that in the beginning I kind of didn't have. So even though I'm the same person, it's not only the strategies that's changed, but it's also the psychology. So I'm just going to go into a couple of those things just to give you an idea of what that looks like. If you're just starting out, maybe, you're trying to figure things out, you want to know what's going to look like for you, over the next few months, if you're going to start running ads or maybe start on a consulting or maybe you're going to transition into ads, what that's going to look like for you. So essentially when I was in the beginning, it was pretty much like a new niche. Now, one of the biggest things that I think helped me a lot as an advantage is definitely just knowing the numbers. So I posted about this yesterday. If you saw my profile, talk about, the importance, for every client I take on, we track the numbers, and not just track the numbers, we track it every single day and we track every metric, that we can track, and we track the highest quality of each metric. So, for example, things like clicks, we want to know exactly how many clicks came through and things like that. So that way we always have the most accurate data. And that's one of those things that I kind of never used to do. So if you looked at me more than a year ago, if I run ads, I would just run them blindly. So there was no real, strategy behind it. And there was no real tracking at all going on. And just by knowing the numbers alone, that's very powerful because, it sets you up in a good position to kind of not only forecast what's going to happen, but also to have benchmarks and KPIs, which allow you to know when and where to make changes. So, I used to run ads just blindly, just go into it, run ads any way I wanted, and every day would just be a new day. I would just come in and change things based on how I feel. Nowadays, obviously, we see the numbers and we can see exactly where we're going to change something, how we're going to change it, when will it need to be changed. Because the thing is about having numbers, you can kind of forecast, you can see things dropping. So I can actually forecast when we'll need new ads, when a video might need changing, when we're going to need new ad copy and things like that, or and you can forecast these things, which is very, very powerful. So, we can actually predict based on last month when the sales are going to come in, what our conversion rates are, if the video stops performing, if your sales video stops performing, if your landing page stops performing, you can see that happening ahead of time. Or maybe your landing page is performing, but you're getting low quality leads, then, you can see all those things, and that puts you, in a position of power, because now, you can not only predict, you can prepare, and, you have, and most people don't do this, by the way. That's why it's so powerful. With most people I work with, they don't have this setup. So that's the first thing we actually set up. So they don't have this set up at all. So before you even run anything, you want to have some place where you track all your numbers. So that way, this is it's like a prerequisite. But yeah, so I think that's one of the biggest things, that I'll definitely do, and I'll do more and more of. So, sometimes you can get lazy where you just don't want to do it one day, but you got to do it every single day. So it's like a discipline. And yeah, it keeps you very attuned to what's going on. But, yeah, that's obviously just tracking numbers. But obviously to get those numbers, you have to actually do stuff, right? So I can tell you for a fact that, one other big thing is, what you actually do to generate the numbers. So obviously you have to actually run ads. You have to run ad copy and videos and landing pages and sales videos to get numbers to begin with, right? So, you get CTR based on people clicking on an ad. So those are the components that happen. So in terms of the components, my whole psychology has changed as well. Now, the truth is I couldn't have known that beforehand because, with anything that you come into, you're going to collect data. So, in the beginning, I would just run any kind of ads. I would test a variety, right? So we would test new ads all the time. And based on that, based on those, testing new ads, testing different things, we were able to see the things that work the best. So, if you come into a new niche like I did, I don't know what works best. So I had to go into like rapid testing mode to find like the key things that work. So the ad formats that work best at like large scales, landing pages that work best at large scales, and things like that. So basically having all that data come in, we were able to see kind of what works really well. So it's not just knowing what works well, but it's just having that testing mentality where you just want to, actually come in, actually test and learn and be curious to find out what will not work. So some people, when they come in, it's the first month of running ads, they don't see anything come in, and then they just quit, which is a bit ridiculous, because obviously, usually they don't come in with a testing mentality. They haven't really prepared. So, you can't really expect things to work straight away. So that's why, having that mentality to begin with is like super powerful. And, I still try to do it today to get to that next level. And obviously it's taken me only so far. And to get to the next level, obviously I'm going to have to like try and keep that up and maintain it and uphold it to get better and better and really find out those key things that work. So yeah, so tracking your numbers, constantly testing, that's huge. So those two are like huge, right? So tracking your numbers, constantly testing, and thirdly is getting very specific. So I would say before I go into the whole like VSL niche, like booking sales calls, I was doing like 100 different things. I would run ads for any niche. It doesn't matter what business you're in or anything like that. And some of my clients even, they would be like, I have a webinar funnel, I have this funnel, I have that funnel. So they would have a bunch of things too, and then I would just go with it. But nowadays, it's very specific, which is like just sales calls. And, the more specific you can get, the easier it is to get the outcome, right? So if your outcome is, for my clients, one outcome, which is sales calls, it's easy because now we know what we want. We can just focus on that specifically. Whereas, if you have like 5 different outcomes, like for 5 different funnels, you have all these outcomes, your focus is all spread out, and you just have no idea like how to get to any of these singular like outcomes, right? So by having one specific outcome, it's made it easier for me to kind of just fill in the variables, test which ones get me that one outcome, right? Which is different to, which makes life a lot easier. So now obviously, if a client comes and I know the outcome I want to get for them, I can just put in the right variables to get as quickly as possible, because it's the same outcome every time. So that's a huge thing as well. So obviously if you have like 50 different funnels or different kind of different things you're trying to achieve, then it's kind of hard to do that. So, I remember I had one client where we would get like app downloads. Another client would have like 10 different products. Let's see, another client, they would have like, it would just be so many different things, so many different outcomes, and it just like takes away your focus. So if you're able to just focus on just one thing, and just get that output only, then that's very powerful. So for example, like automated sales. So in our niche, obviously we have automated sales. Some people do like those cheap funnels where it's like upsells. Some people will have, live webinar funnels. It's all these type of funnels, and all it does is takes away your focus from having one outcome. So the more outcomes you have, the more, there's nothing wrong with it. It just means you have to test a lot more. And most people are not willing to do that. The reason they have multiple funnels is because they're just lazy. That's what I've seen anyway, is they're extremely lazy. So they think that by having multiple things, they're somehow going to get more ROI out of it, which is not true. So there's nothing wrong with doing it inherently, as long as you just have insane willpower, drive, and energy to test both, equally. And most people don't have that. And the people that do are making like a lot of money. But most people don't. They just feel lazy or confused, or they just were misinformed and they thought they had to have multiple things, when in reality they didn't. So those are a couple of things I just want to talk about today. So 3 things that really shaped where I am now. And I hope you enjoy this video. If you like it, just leave a comment. If you like things like this, these kind of topics, just let me know. I'll make more of them. And yeah, I will see you soon.